For general studies, these guidelines are simply for means the first day that will be appearing for, that is your language paper, right? Paper A and paper B. This is your language paper. Please remember, these are of 300 marks. I have some students from extreme northeast as well. I remember one probably. So both those students, the first language paper, it is from the 8th schedule of the constitution, right? There are 22 languages, the last 4 being added, Dogri, Bodo, Santhali and Maithili, right? Some population from northern Bihar for Maithili, certain tribal belts of Orissa, West Bengal, Jharkhand, that is Santhali, Dogri for Jammu region, certain portions of Jammu region, and Bodo for the Assam, portions of Assam. So for them, the last 4 groups have been added as well. For one paper from the given list of 22 languages, some will be appearing Punjabi, Hindi, majority of the students generally give from Hindi. There are definitely other language groups as well. And definitely there are the paper B, that is in English, that is also of 300 marks. It checks your basic comprehension, whether you are aware about these languages. According to the report of UPSC, although a few years old, roughly 10% of the candidates whosoever will be appearing in this writing means get rejected in the very day one itself. You have to remember that. Clearing the language paper, for some it is extremely difficult. In our days, right after the day one, I would find that extremely ultra modern cosmopolitan crowd, taking pride in not knowing their own mother tongue. This is absolutely unacceptable. It should not be the case. It absolutely should not be the case. If you are a Telugu, read the local newspaper for the next 2 weeks. If you are from Hindi background, you read. If you are writing Urdu, you should have a general idea regarding Nukte. If you are Hindi, then the matras. You need to understand about difference between the different nas, right? You cannot make these mistakes in the classroom. It is unacceptable behavior. Generally, majority students who are aware, learned, will not be facing problems here. But some definitely, ultra cosmopolitan, they will be facing problems. For them, the advice is mandatory. Again, you need to, at least my advice, in order to hear, basically it is qualifying in nature, you need to score 25% and above. That is 75 marks and above. You need to score 75 marks and above. So for that, you need basic comprehension. What I used to do, I never generally, or anybody I knew did not used to face problems here. So they were doing it in such a way, you get any local newspaper in your own mother tongue that you have, you go to the editorial, right? Go to the editorial section. You know what the editorial is. A number of students generally confuse the editorials with something else. Editorial, in the page editorial, in the left side there are a pair of columns, 2 columns, that is known as editorials. You should not be confusing between the two. I am only talking about editorial, right? What is editorial in Hindi? Those who speak the language. Sampadakiya, and the editor Sampadak. So here you will be facing problems. Same thing goes with Urdu, same thing goes with Telugu, Tamil, and whatever Assamese language groups you are in. So you should be aware about them. You will be facing problems in translating globalization, liberalization, privatization, anything of that sort, any jargon, technical term. The editorial talks about these varied subjects. If you have read the editorials for the last 3 months and translated that in English, I sincerely believe you will prepare for those short essays, you will prepare for grammatical errors and mistakes, you will prepare for, that means I assure you, you will clear the paper. That is all I am saying. That is for your paper A and paper 2. Nothing else is to be done. You need to translate and vice versa. You can do report writing, you can, paraphrasing these articles, write it in English or English to in your own mother tongue, given the requirement. You will not face. If you are facing difficulties, only then the advice is applicable, or else it is not. General studies 1, that is your paper 2. That will have subjects, topics such as history and geography. that will be India as well as the world. There are further sub-categorization, sub-classifications you will prepare in that direction. And the Indian society, be honest to yourself. Often it will be the advice that it is the competition you against the world, but it always has been the competition with yourself. Try to be a better human being. Do not compare with suppose X, Y or Z. Yesterday's you should be inferior to what you are today. You should not be making that let me have some comfort and make myself too inferior, so that tomorrow is always a positive day. There are two approaches, right? Fulfilling your goals, set your bar so low that always you will be successful. There is also the category who sets the bar so high that you will have the element of self-loathing. It is also a trait of your character, you need to address that. Challenge should not be overwhelming, self-detrimental, self-defeating. It should be challenging to the extent it is enjoyable, to the extent it is doable. Every bar you set, about 60 to 80% if you are successfully achieving, you are good to go. That means you should give a challenge, that is the essence. I am not saying apply the formula in letter and in spirit. You will set the bar so easy, so low, and you will always have the sense of containment. I am not advising that. You have to do that by yourself. And every day, quantify your progress. You will think that you will, majority students who are wanting to have that element of fear, I am not able to progress, I am not able to do anything about it. You today read the preamble and learn it by heart. If there is one question of 2 marks, there you will be able to answer it adequately, don't you think? You learn about the 42nd Amendment, you learn about the what is mini constitution, the contours of it. Your preparation regarding 42nd Amendment, you will be aware, don't you think? You learn what was repealed, what was amended. I remember while preparing 4 plus 2 is 6 and 44th 4 plus 4 is 8. In my deathbed I will be remembering what is 42nd and 44th Amendment. That is smart usage of mnemonics. I did not forget. Again, certain commonsensical areas. We used to create these stories. The article, the directive principles of state policy, that is the on uniform civil code. That is article 44, also uniformity in the letter itself. Right? These are certain very interesting, odd, bizarre ideas that no matter, I left the career 10 years back or I possibly will be forgetting less. That is what I have prepared. I remember all the rivers, the sequence of the rivers, their origin point and the discharge, the tributaries by smart mnemonics. Right? The sequence of Krishna, Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri, what are the distributaries, what are the tributaries, the ranges, Tista, Tosa, Jaldhaka, all the rivers. Anyways, that is about, from now on, prepare about 30 topics that you need to do in your next given stipulated time and do one every day. You can mix and match or you can do one subject at a time at your own convenience, whatever you feel productive, right? Next is General Studies 2, Polity and Governance, International Relations, Social Justice. Take 1 day's time, learn current events and exactly mapping of these textbooks. The mappings will help you browse through and get the ideal topic. You will be pointed to that ideal topic. You do not have to read the entire book. Do not be a learned man. My first advice, do not absolutely be a learned. This is a bad exercise. You will be very knowledgeable and will be of no use. Suppose you have read everything on our parliament and there is 0 question that year. You will prepare these topics, take the general guidelines from your NCERTs, from any standard textbook, or in this case, it has become very popular, that is your ChatGPT. Remember, ChatGPT can be disastrous for your preparation if you do not guide, do not give the outline, because it also is an AI-based tool and it works on the available information it has over the internet. I have found the ChatGPT making errors several times. The chief highlight of initial days of 2023, ChatGPT could not clear UPSC. Is it the fault of ChatGPT? Not really. It is about the inputs. Given the right input, it could have done otherwise. The right algorithm, that means an AI which is trained on the best minds, incapable in solving UPS. That means you have to also align yourself to the paper setter's mindset. Clear? That is, finally, social justice, right? That is your GS2 or paper 3. You will take away, dismember the topics and find out. Suppose you want to create from polity and governance about 30 and 20. You will prepare that and you will have, by the end of your preparation for the next 6 weeks or 7 weeks, you will have that ready at your hand, disposal. There is a possibility even in your prelims. If a question, there are questions by the way from bodies, important bodies. You will be successfully able to answer that. For international relations, you will also club. There are different, basically when we talk about international relations in mains perspective, there are certain general questions. What are these general questions? Suppose Indian diaspora. You can connect the dots. It is there written, enunciated in your syllabus. Another important topic, suppose these are generic topics, general discussions, climate change, counter terrorism, human trafficking, narco terrorism. These you will connect according, these have relevance to international bodies, or there can be question on international bodies, NAM, UN, right, SCU, where of course India is a member. That is your key understanding, starting point. There is another type of question, if any, that is India and relationship with its neighborhood. India and the relationship with XYZ countries. There are certain European countries very important, West Asian countries which are very important, Southeast Asia, East Asian countries, and North America, mostly US. You have that list. For example, neglected are those, for example, Africa, Latin America. There's a lot of prospect of questions being asked. You have to closely monitor what is going on. It is very much current affairs based. Your past static understanding or traditional approach will not help. You club it continent wise. India's approach in North America, South America. South America, mostly we say Latin America, that is Mexico and southwards. Europe, West Asia, Africa, East, Southeast Asia, that's all. Central Asia. Central Asia, you have mostly Asia, Russia, certain portions, Mongolia, that's all. And Uzbekistan, Pakistan, these are mostly in West Asia extension. That is how you prepare your international relations. And for prelims purposes, there can be questions on these bodies. And there can be questions on maps. Majorly, the questions on maps are West Asia, Southeast Asia, Africa. I recommend spending roughly 10 minutes of your precious time with the map of India as well as the map of the world. Make a systematic study, please. Do not, it is not that random you will, a person X randomly browsing through the maps, and a person in a cyclic approach is covering the sequence periodically and quantifiable success, measuring the success, the element how they can remember, recollect and reproduce. You definitely will have more success in the latter approach, not the former one. Also, I recommend for art and culture, for geography, international world as well, you get these blank maps. You will find it on Europe, you will find it on Africa, you will find it on, you can have the political map, you can have the physical map, you can have the maps with the river bodies and so on, and prepare in that direction.